Everything in this world is first created in mind, then it is created in experience. This is the way, by law, the universe is set up. We have to see it first. We have to feel it first. And then through the faculty of our imagination, it has color and texture, and it comes to fruition. But today, we're going to go where no man or woman has ever gone before, to the edge of our imagination. Charles Fillmore, our co-founder, says this about imagination. It is the power to lay hold of ideas and to clothe them with substance. Basically, it's the power that we have been gifted as one of the greatest abilities to create, to open up our imagination and allow a download, a great spiritual download to happen, and then grab at the energy of God and put it into 1,000, 1,000,000, an infinite number of realities. Isn't that exciting to you? That a banquet table of goodness that is infinite in its scope is available to every single one of us. There is no limit to what we can do. There is no limit to what can be created. We live in a great big ball of clay. Life is this magnificent ball of clay of possibility. Sometimes this field is called the quantum field, infinite in its scope. Sometimes it's called angelic realms. Sometimes it's called the cosmic soup. Sometimes scientists will call it dark energy. And they say 96% of the universe is dark energy. What you're experiencing is only a tip of the iceberg of what can be. And today on our hero's journey, as we're walking through facing whatever we need to face, cleaning whatever needs to be cleaned out, it is a limitless exercise. It is infinite in its reality. As we open up and leave our human constructs behind, God downloads and something good happens. Now, we talk a lot in Unity about visualizing. How many people visualize? You use that human mind, the mental capacity that you have been given, to visualize the way heaven on earth can be made manifest here. Today, I want to introduce you to a concept that Dr. Michael Beckwith introduced me to, and that's visioning, which is expanded. See, visualizing is one limited field where I'm using my mental capacity to create what might be possible with the landscape that is before me, the canvas that's been put before me. Visioning is setting aside those notions, letting go of what I think the world should be so that there can be a spiritual inpouring. There can be an awareness that God knows so much more that can be created if I allow myself to be a vessel, if I allow myself to become a conduit. All great heroes must rely and lean into something greater than their own mental capacities, their own talents, their own limited reality. And so we take the lid off of our imagination and say, God, what would you do through me? What would you have me be? And look out, because when you make that invitation, you will become more than you've ever thought possible. Greater things come to mind, things beyond our individual scope and abilities. And in that, we cross a threshold. The hero is always about crossing the threshold. Last week, we talked about the reluctance of the hero. Okay, I'm taking the step. I'm about to move through a portal to become something more. And when you move through that portal, it is moving from the impossible to the possible. How many people here have ever believed that something was impossible? Come on, be honest. How many people have been told that the dreams you had were impossible? That the visions that you had, even though you knew they were downloaded from the presence of God, somebody said it's impossible and you quit the dream. And you stopped and you gave up because it was too hard. Well, here's the reality I want you to know. I'm asking you to go through a threshold today into the uncomfortable zone, into a place where God's going to give you a dream and a vision that's going to make you shake down to the marrow of your bones. It's going to make your knees shake. Be ready, because once you go through the threshold, you cannot go back to the limited you. You cannot go back to being small. Napoleon Hill, I think, put it this way, and I added a word to it. Whatever you can conceive, when you are connected to God, whatever you can conceive, what you can perceive and what you can believe, you can achieve, and you will achieve. I'd like to invite two people up here right now who are delightfully fun, playful, funny lights in this world. But beyond that, they have proven exactly what I just talked about. They visualized the reality, and they made the reality a reality. They made the reality a reality. Marilyn, Segal, they're both authors. I have all these books up here, and I hope you will go talk to them and get a book signed afterwards. Marilyn Segal and Carolyn Cohen. You may take a while to tell them apart because they are twin sisters. But will you please give them a warm welcome and invite them up to our platform right now? You got an extra mic for them? These two ladies have a story, and they have proven the principles that we teach every single day at Unity. I'm going to give you the platform and let you tell a little bit about your story.
Hello. Hello. Your name?
My name is Marilyn.
And I'm Carolyn. And we're identical twins, but we're also mirror twins. And what does that mean? That means we mirror into each other, well, energy. And our story starts with, well, it started when we were born, and we were roommates. And eventually we moved to Atlanta, and we became roommates because we had separated right after college. When we were 11, our mother passed away.
And shortly after that, I had a back injury in phys ed class that led me to wear a back brace for 2.5 years. So through the next 27 years, I got my PhD in pain and suffering.
How many people have a PhD in suffering and pain? It's part of the human experience. And sometimes we think, well, as heroes, we're not supposed to have that pain. These heroes had 27 years of pain.
Right, right. And it wasn't until, I didn't even know that there was another possibility, to be honest. I thought that this was my life and I was just going to have to deal with it. Until
me, her twin sister, saw her in her worst level of pain, and I said a little wish, and the wish went like this. I wish I could help my twin sister. I didn't know it was going to go out into the universe. I didn't know God was going to listen or some angels. I didn't know. I didn't care. But all I wanted was my twin sister to get out of pain. And little did I know, it was answered. And 6 weeks later, my husband and I were moving into our first house. And we were driving there, and there was a double rainbow in the sky. And I said to my husband, I wonder what's getting ready to happen and unfold with us. Marilyn and I were always, even as kids.
Keep the mic up, Carolyn.
Okay, Marilyn.
Mike, Carolyn, Mike.
No, he's my husband. I'm just kidding. But anyway, what happened was we were driving to the house and that we had bought, and it had a gas leak that put my immune system into hyperactivity. And I became allergic to everything and was housebound for 3.5 years.
She became allergic to me, too.
And that's true. That's really true. What happened was, I didn't know I was having a spiritual awakening. I didn't know that our lives were getting ready to change. But I had done this wish. And you never know how it's going to start to unfold.
Because the universe steps up.
And things begin to open up that you never knew. I mean, Marilyn and I, when we were little, we were just like everyone else. And we're all alike, really. We're all seeking, wanting to be heard, to be loved, to let love in, to let love out. But we were like, we call each other earthworms. And we were in
crawling.
And we were definitely into our negativity of woe is me, woe is losing a mother, woe is the foundation is broken, woe is woe. We were
Many a great dream, many an amazing dream is born from divine discontent. I no longer can stay where I am at. I know that there's something. I don't know what the something is. I don't know where I'm going. I don't have a name. You weren't praying to God or anything at that point. You were just going, here's where I'm at, and I want to be somewhere else. Yes?
That's true.
Dreams can be born from that.
And even you're bringing that up, and even when I was 25, I got my master's in counseling, and I remember saying to my dad, is this it? Is this all there is? And he must have been channeled or something. He said to me,
the inward journey
is the hardest journey you can take. And I said to myself, what is that? And so things were being planted with us all the time when we were growing up. But we didn't know we were going to be led to where we are today, where Marilyn and I have become spiritual coaches, where we teach people how to go into that wonderment and help open up to their possibilities of being more than who they can be.
27 years after our mother died, I had an instantaneous healing. After Carolyn moved into her gas leaking house, she became that bubble person. And she talked me into doing an acupuncture session with her. And we decided to be treated as one person. Her front, where she had the respiratory problems, and my back, where I had that injury. And within 20 minutes, I had an instantaneous healing. our deceased mother, I know this is going to stretch you a little bit, but our deceased mother came in and sat with us as as I had my instantaneous healing, and she walked me through it. And it was beyond magic. It was the download that I didn't know I was looking for. It was the spiritual, magical journey that I was like, oh my God, this is it. I mean, I can't even put it into words. But when I'm with my clients, I bring that energy in. Carolyn did not get freed at the same time because she had her own awakening at her time. So 3 months later,
I woke up and I had Marilyn's back pain. And I went to get a chiropractic adjustment. Excuse me.
You went to get a chiropractic?
I went to get a chiropractic adjustment, and it didn't work. And I even said to Marilyn, this feels like your pain, not my pain. And so we kind of chuckled at that. And so I went to get the chiropractic adjustment, and it didn't work. So I went home and took some aspirin with codeine, which put me into one of my symptoms, which was a cough that would last 3 hours at a time. But this night it was different. This night I started, it was weird. It was very weird. I had learned how to meditate shortly before, and I thought, this peacefulness was coming into my body, and I didn't know where it was coming from. And my husband said, we need to go up and get you on your paraphernalia, which I had at home. I had oxygen, I had a bronchial dilator machine, I had Kleenex, a trash can, I had adrenaline. I mean, I was the pharmacy. They called me if they needed anything. And so anyway, I got up, went upstairs, and this peacefulness was in my body. And my thoughts were very, very profound. And I said to myself, wow, meditation really works. And then my husband said to me, Carolyn, I need to give you a shot of adrenaline. And within 10 seconds, you come out of wherever you were. And I said to him, go get me my other breathing machine, and that was his message, that the other breathing machine was harder for me to breathe in. So he says, I need to take you to the hospital. Well, I was beginning into a near-death experience, and I had the whole near-death, out of body, walking to the car, hearing my thoughts very strong about, wow, how do people walk in these dense bodies? Wow, how do you breathe this thick August air? And I was just so aware of what was going on with me. And so I got in the car, and they were taking me to the hospital. And I heard my husband say to Marilyn, load me another syringe. And I heard Marilyn say, I can't give my sister a shot in a moving car. And I heard,
wait a second, and my angels were saying, it's going to be close. It's going to be close.
And I said to myself, but I couldn't get the words out. I was saying, give me the shot. Give me the shot. So I was so aware, but then I went unconscious. And then I went into the tunnel of light. And I really call it a murky station. But it was where I was going. I didn't know where I was going. I wasn't frightened, but I knew spirits were all around me. And then my mother appeared. And I knew her essence. And I said to her, I said, Mom, I'm too sick to be in the body. And she said, but you haven't come. You haven't done what you came to do. And she threw me back into my body. And I looked up to the physician in the emergency room, and I said, I'm back.
How many on your hero's journey have had a near-death experience? When you go through a threshold, leaving behind who you were to become who you are destined to be, there is a near-death experience. There's a loss of an old vibration. There's a loss of old thinking, of old thoughts that must be let go of. And if we don't pay attention to the call that's happening spiritually, our bodies will then begin to say, there was a great message and a great calling for these two beautiful ladies. They came through the portal. That call came through the portal of their bodies. Marilyn said something really interesting as we prepared for today's talk. She said this quote, everything is energy, and energy can be moved. You see, everything's at a frequency. Everything's a vibration. This is what Albert Einstein, just to validate that Albert Einstein's on your side. Let's read this together. Everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. This is not philosophy. This is physics. What you were putting into play was matching. You didn't know what the new frequency was. You didn't know where you were going. You knew that it was just going to be elevated through a near-death experience, through pain. Can you talk about how you guys move energy?
It's really through your thoughts. It's really through your heart. If we take maybe 2 steps forward, 1 step back. I leaped forward. I just leaped forward and I never turned back. It's just, it's magical energy. You can send the thought out. I work with the angels. So when I'm going to a meeting or if I'm going to speak somewhere, I send my runner angels out to go ahead and prepare the energies in the room. So that's one of the ways I do it. I just work on my spiritual team.
And I always use everything's thought with me. And so even after I came back from the near-death experience, it opened me up to all my voyance. So when I work with people, I see energy. I hear what I need to talk to them about. I feel it in my body. And so what I've learned to do is talk to the energy, talk to the frequency, talk to the dis-ease that's in that person's body, and ask what does it need to be validated so it could shift and change its frequency to a higher level of awareness.
Can we skip, Diana, to the quote number 5 there, the one from the Quran? Can you get to that one? We'll come back to the others. There it is, right there. Let's read this together. For every soul,
there is a guardian watching over it.
The Jewish tradition says that every blade of grass has an angel leaning over it, whispering, grow, grow. These energies, we are surrounded. And your mom didn't necessarily look like an angel with a halo and a harp and singing hymns with big giant wings, right?
Right.
It looked as energy. Angels show up as energy. And so I'm asking you to open up your imagination that you are surrounded in this now moment, angels with skin on, angels without skin on, all operating at a certain vibration. And as you walk through the threshold, you will be called to the higher vibration. The people will show up that are necessary. The resources you need on your hero's journey, whether they be physical or non-physical, will be in your field. We need to access them. It matters less what we call them. You can call them angels. You can call them the quantum reality. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you tap into them and you pay attention to them, yes?
And you ask.
You ask.
You know, whenever I'm looking for a new modality or if I'm wanting to go to my next level of who I'm supposed to become, I ask for that person or place or thing or energy to come to me, and I just pay attention.
And I do it a little bit different. I ask to be recalibrated. Just like a computer, I say I recalibrate myself to my next step of my divine plan.
You're much more gracious than I put it. I always say, okay, angels, kick me in the butt today because I'm falling asleep.
Yeah, we've been there. We've been there.
Yeah, we've been there.
Jesus knew this. Jesus knew this many layers of energy that exist, not at some far-off place. This is what Jesus says in the book Gospel of John, chapter 14. There we go. Let's read it together. In my Father's house are many mansions. We only access those higher degrees of vibration and mansions in this great kingdom of heaven if we are willing. If we cannot picture it in our own mind's eye, we need to take the lid off and allow a visioning process to happen, to know that those energies are standing at the door, knocking, let me in. Pay attention. And don't define me by the way you think I'm supposed to show up. Our job is to be open and then to go up like a great spiritual elevator in the mansion of God's awareness, of the vibration, of the frequency that we want to be at. You guys want to comment?
Yeah, I want to say that I look at days, every day, mostly every moment, if I'm aware of that, about expansion. How can I be of service? How can I, just show up in my vibration of joy to pass it on to whomever I pass? So that's energy.
And also, if by chance you're in a down mood or you've had your boss just said something to you negative, you might feel yourself contract. But the awareness we talked about Wednesday night at your Rappin with Rev is about knowing that you've just contracted and how can you expand yourself out and not stay in the frequency of those words or those thoughts or those vibrations that somebody just slammed you with.
So you two are a shining example of leaving an old frequency behind, crossing through a threshold to the unknown, to the great mystery where all healing and all goodness lives and breathes and has its being. Talk to us about where you are today after 27 years of pain, after being the bubble girl.
The bubble girl.
Talk to us about what is different today than when you were in those vibrations.
I'm just full of more joy. When I first started meditating, I would lay on my massage table because I didn't know how to meditate, and I'd say, okay, God, I'm here. What do you want? And I'd open up my eyes. And full-blown pictures would come to me. I'm going, I'm not an artist. But then they said, get some canvas and get some paints. And my little girl, my little child just got really excited. And then I started writing, and then I started, working with people, because after my instantaneous healing, it seemed like people by word of mouth would hear about me, and they'd come for a session. And I just would show up and do what I knew what to do, and that was just to be present to the omnipresence of God.
And also, after your instantaneous healing, Marilyn opened up to her frequency that she vibrates out, and that is joy.
So there was I don't know if you all saw the YouTube that was going around, or was a text going around, a young Indian boy who was asking the question, what do you practice? Because what you practice, you will get very good at. Are you practicing complaining? Are you practicing resistance? Are you practicing fear? Because if you are, you're going to get very, very good at it. When you practice the vibration that is here, you get very good at it, and it gets more difficult to get to the higher vibration without accessing. You ever hit bottom, and the only way you can get out of the bottom is to ask for help? Well, we go ask people. We go ask physical things and physical beings. These non-physical realities are waiting and standing at the door. And this multi-dimensional existence that is heaven on earth that Jesus is talking about there, it is available to us at every single moment, but we cannot see it if we are practicing complaint. If we are practicing resistance, if we're practicing bemoaning. I imagine you probably, in order to get out of where you were, had to quit bemoaning. It hurts, it sucks, I'm terrible, it's pain, it's not fair.
It's amen.
But I remember my other sister saying to me, Carolyn, you never went into your negativity when you got so sick.
She never did.
I never went into the negativity. I stayed very present, because the body will always keep you present. The pains and the aches will keep you present. The mind will go past or future, but the body will bring you back to present moment. And I never went to the negativity. I kept going to the precious moment.
So how many you can vision today, whether it be a diagnosis or a pain or a bank account reality, can you envision, with the faculty of your imagination, taking the lid off of any limits, a different reality, a higher vibration? That is a gift of God. The ability to create and to reach to that higher vibration is the gift of God by grace that you have been given. Don't waste the gift.
And you know what? Don't waste your time about the complaints. Because if you complain, you're going to get more of it. And that's the law of attraction. But also, when you're wanting the gift of God, you have to change your conversation. People don't know you unless you tell them about you, what you're feeling or going through. So if you're seeing one person one way and then you start talking to them and you find out that they're disconnected from who they really are, they're like I call it a spiritual schizophrenic, in a kind and loving way.
So repeat after me, everybody. Change my conversation. Change my life.
Absolutely.
And where is that conversation? It's out here. Oh, but the greater conversation is the one that's going on in here. We have to envision heaven on earth before we can ever access it. We have to reach out to heaven on earth, the angelic realms, whether it be mom or somebody else or an angel you've never met before, a vibration you've never met before. We have to be able to visualize it first here, or it will never happen out here.
Well, you know, some people can't visualize. I want to say something about that. So it's going back to thoughts, because thoughts are very, very powerful, because they do create your reality. When we think a thought, it goes out into the universe, and then your angels or your guides or whoever's out there listening to you say, oh, I'll take that assignment, will bellow it back to you. And so why not play with the unseen realms to bring a different reality to you if you want to change who you are and go to your magnificence of who you could be?
How many people are not good at visualizing? You've got a leg up on the rest of us. Those of us who are very creative in our minds have a harder time going to the place of visioning the angelic realms, the place of emptiness, to be filled by something greater than we can imagine. But once we go there, we can never go back. One more quote, then we're going to go into meditation. Let's put that last quote up there by Oliver Wendell Holmes. Let's read it together. The mind, once stretched by a new idea, never returns to the original dimensions. You will never go back to having the kind of pain that you had.
No.
You will never go back to being bubble girl again. None of us. If we have the guts and the courage to take that step and to go through that threshold, we cannot and will not ever be limited by that human reality again. We'll have new obstacles. We'll have new things that we have to face in front, but we've then developed a system of going, not my will, but something greater. Not my visualizing, but something more beautiful. Are you open to the fact of taking your imagination lid off and knowing that we're surrounded by angels here right now? Carolyn's going to lead us in a meditation. And I'm going to invite you to be fully open with every cell of your being to the angels with skin on around you, the consciousness of those angels, angels without skin on, and to know that in this brief 7-8 minutes, you're about to raise the frequency and never be the same again. Take a breath with me. We're going to sing this chant going into the meditation. Feel free to join me if you'd like. Let's bring the lights down a little bit. Angels all around us, in every part of life, guiding us, protecting us with healing love and light. Angels all around us, in every part of life, guiding us, protecting us with healing love and light. Peace, rest easy, there are angels here and now. Peace, rest easy, there are angels here and now. Open up. Angels all around us, in every part of life, guiding us, protecting us with healing love and light. Angels all around us, in every part of life, guiding us, protecting us with healing love and light. Peace, rest easy, there are angels here and now. Peace, rest easy, there are angels here and now.
I invite you to close your eyes, get comfortable in your chair. Give yourself permission to receive your own healing right now. Allow yourself to be healed. Say to yourself, I deserve to be healed. And then we're going to slip into desire. I desire to be healed. We're going to use the mind to help the body heal its heart. There's no right or wrong way to do this. So we're going to ask the ego to step aside. And I want you to take a deep breath in, signaling yourself to go to your inward chamber where healing takes place, where all is well, where all is magnificent. Each time you take a breath, you go deeper and deeper into that chamber. You find your rhythm with your breath. If you go to your to-do list, come back to your breath or the music or my words. Through imagination, I want you to see yourself clicking your heels just like Dorothy did in The Wizard of Oz. Asking yourself to go to that place where you can heal yourself. We all have challenges. We all have obstacles. We all are all heroes. We are brave to be human beings. We are courageous to be human beings. So through imagination, I want you to see, think, or just believe there's a trash can to your left. And we're going to put some words in it or phrases. Don't question it. Just see yourself thinking the thought and putting it in the trash can to your left. And the first one is fear of the unknown. Fear of the unknown. The next one is resistance, the word resistance. The next thought is judgment. Judging others, judging yourself. Why don't you throw stinking thinking in there? I can't do that. I should have done that. Why don't you throw in the trash can the invisible you and breathe in the visible you? Breathe in your light. Each time you put something out, through your breath, you come back to peace. You come back to wholeness. You come back to new possibilities of how you can operate your life through new eyes. Sometimes we have to invite God in or the angels in to help you see a new perspective on how your life is unfolding. So if you're not liking the way your life is, just click your heels and say to yourself, I'm ready, I'm willing, I'm able to go to my next step. Sometimes we don't know our step, but if you just say that little prayer for yourself, you can open up to new possibilities that will guide you to that next step effortlessly. I want you to breathe into your own heart and say, you know what? Whatever I'm holding into my heart or in my heart that's no longer kind to me or my best and good for my best and highest good, I surrender it to the trash can. I can no longer blame my mother, my father, my aunt, my teacher that may have put me down, that made my light dim. I can no longer blame them. I have to take responsibility. And today I claim that I can let that go. I can be that magnificent light that God gave me as me being God's masterpiece in physical form. I don't know how I'm going to get there, but I decide today to take one step at a time. I claim me back. I give myself permission to be this vibrant frequency that allows love to come in and allows love to go out. I want you to see yourself clicking your heels again and knowing that you did take yourself to that new place where possibilities can be delivered to you. And I want you to think the thought, why am I so magnificent? Thank you, thank you, thank you. Why am I so magnificent? Thank you, thank you, thank you. Why does my light shine so bright? Thank you, thank you, thank you. Why does my light shine so bright? Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is. Amen.
Let's take this into a moment of stillness, a moment of silence, a moment of expansive imagination, and remember that all things are first created in mind and then in reality. Everything is energy. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And so it is. before we head into the offering, and is Diane here? I don't see Diane. Oh, there she is. She's moved sides on me. Just a couple of the books that these two ladies are going to be signing in the bookstore if you're interested. The Heart Speaks, Creating Your Own Heaven on Earth. Precious Reflections, Whose Illness Is It Anyway? And Reasons Why You're Here on Earth.
There's 5.
What did I say?
You said reasons. See the big 5?
Oh, there's a 5 there.
5's magical.
I need my glasses.
5's magical.
5 reasons why you're here on earth. Please go visit them. Spend time with these ladies. And I said this is their ministry. And they were like, ministry? This is a ministry? Yes, it is a ministry. And you've ministered to our heart. Thank you so very much.
Thank you
Let's
so
give them a
much.
thank you.